Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Myself Nishi Jain. So today's topic is 11 general principles of treatment of PNF. Don't get confused between these principles and basic principles. Let's discuss what actually PNF is. So PNF stands for proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. Let us discuss all the three terms individually. So, proprioceptive means receiving stimulation within the tissue of the body. In the given example, a boy is carrying an empty bag, and if we suddenly add some fruits, the tissue gets triggered. Neuromuscular, as the name defines itself, it involves neurons and muscles. Facilitation is to improve the quality of neurons to the stimulus. Hope it's clear. PNF is defined as method of promoting the response of neuromuscular mechanism through stimulation of proprioceptive. It ultimately means that through PNF method, we can improve neuromuscular mechanism by giving stimulation. PNF is mainly based on normal movement and motor development. Now let's discuss treatment approach of PNF. PNF can treat range of musculoskeletal and neurological conditions for adults and children. Some are Parkinsonism disease, spinal cord injury, arthritis, stroke, head injury and hand injury. History of PNF. PNF was generated by Cabot. He was physician and neurophysiologist in 1940s. He used to treat patients with paralysis, poliomyelitis, cerebral palsy and multiple sclerosis. Now principles of PNF. There are total 11 principles of treatment which are developed on concept in the field of neurophysiology, motor learning and motor behavior. So first principle states that all human beings have potential that are not fully developed. According to this principle, a normal person has vast neuromuscular potential which may be developed through environment influences, voluntary decisions or tapped during stressful episodes. Based on this philosophy, the therapist always strives to treat function, motivate the patient to achieve higher levels and uses the patient's strength to minimize his or her weaknesses. Second principle states that normal motor development proceeds in a cephalocaudal, that is from head to tail, and proximodistal, that is from the center of the body outwards direction. According to this principle, development of motion occurs first in the head and neck, then in the trunk and finally in the extremities. Motion develops from proximal points to distal points. So during treatment, the head and neck are treated first because they influence the movement pattern of the body. Third principle states that early motor behavior is dominated by reflex activity. Mature motor behavior is reinforced or supported by postural reflex mechanisms. According to this principle, during treatment, reflexes may be facilitated to support weak muscles by choosing a specific developmental posture, initiating part of a functional activity, or involving the head and trunk with extremity patterns. Now, fourth principle states that the growth of motor behavior has cyclic trends as evidenced by shifts between flexors and extensors dominance. Let's understand this principle. During functional activity, movements alternate between flexion and extension. This reciprocal relationship leads to stability and balance of postures. In treatment, the reciprocal relationship of flexors and extensors may be facilitated to re-establish stability. Fifth principle states that developing motor behavior is expressed in an orderly sequence of total patterns of movements and posture. According to this principle, let's take an example. The infant learns to roll, to crawl, to creep, and finally to stand and walk. Throughout these stages of locomotion, the infant also learns to use extremities in different patterns and within different postures. In this video, I have covered only 5 principles. Principles from 6 to 11 will be explained in part 2, so stay tuned. Hope you liked the video. Thank you. Also, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel.